Welcome to another installment of Employee Termination Tips. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal, and in this particular video we're going to be briefly discussing massive corporate layoffs when large numbers of employees are permanently laid off, relieved of their jobs permanently, whether it's through an acquisition or changes in the economy or the like, and what this means for you as the individual employee as part of these massive layoffs. Well, one of the things you got to remember is that these layoffs tend to be highly financially driven. They're determined by financial numbers, and there's not a lot of review that typically goes into them from the perspective of ensuring that every single employee has had all their aspects fully addressed from a legal standpoint. They're looking at it from a financial standpoint. So when you're dealing with stuff on a financial standpoint and the standard for your protection is legal, you got a serious issue. And they're taking, and oftentimes these are companies that are not anticipating to let go of those individuals. And when they're unanticipated layoffs, what tends to happen is that they aren't laying off people where there's not a lot of, call it, financial exposure involved in them from a legal sense. They are actually oftentimes laying off individuals who have got a lot of financial exposure from the legal perspective to the company, but it's unbeknownst to the company because they never really assess those people. These are now, they're laying off oftentimes hardworking individuals as opposed to lazy people. I hate to say this, but that's some of the facts of these matters. And when you lay off a hardworking person who's committed lots of time, done very well for the company, made a lot of advancements, there is a lot more to those layoffs than you would anticipate. And because everything is driven by finances and not necessarily looking at the law and saying, we cut people based on what the financial numbers are, what our exposures are, that's how they do it. But from a legal perspective, they don't look at how much exposure do they really have with respect to laying off each individual. So that's a major concern. So when you're part of a massive layoff, what you really need to do is engage legal counsel, have them take the time to review and see if there are any angles which you can challenge this stuff, because it's also a very good time to be challenging companies because there's an onslaught of issues. And the last thing they want when somebody comes at them, especially if there are mistakes, if they haven't been focused on the legals but having focused on the financials, is they don't want this to snowball. And it can very quickly snowball and become cataclysmic for them. So that's what you need to be looking at, and that's our suggestion in this employee termination tip. Thank you.